Good morning, WellHouse Church. Pastor Cullen here, excited to be back storytelling once again. Um, this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about prayer. And prayer has been important to me for a very long time. The way in which I pray looks different throughout seasons, but something I've learned over a decade of trying to figure out how to do this Christian thing is that when I pray, things happen. I learned that when I was 19 years old. I was just finished up my freshman year of college, was living at home, trying to figure out what to do with my life. And we had just done this local mission outreach project where we worked on people's homes after a storm. It was a very big deal. It was conference-like. And in there, we spent a lot of time praying. And me and one other friend decided that we wanted to continue praying. And so we had keys to the church building, and we went to the church every day, every single day, and prayed for hours together in one little room. That moment forever changed my life because it was praying there that I felt the Lord tell me to go to a Baptist school in Louisiana. And me going to that Baptist school in Louisiana was the first time I ever saw the dark side of Baptists. And it perpetuated. But that moment forever changed my life. Outside of just the ways in which I understand religious trauma and church hurt now, that moment forever changed my life because I learned that when I prayed, things happened. And God was moving and orchestrating things the way in which, or the best way in which, it was viewed at that time. Sometimes looking back on it, I go, God, I don't understand. But then get 5 years down the road, I always go, okay, God, I see it now. I see the way in which this is all working together in some kind of beautiful broken tapestry. And that's where our story picks up today. We have a new section happening in the text of Acts. And we now get an understanding of the political and religious powers that are at play. We now have the church, Jerusalem, Judaism, the temple, the persecutors, in conjunction with the political leaders, Rome, both persecuting the church now. And throughout that, there's murder as well as Peter ends up in prison. And the beginning part of chapter 12 is a miracle story of how Peter is broken out of prison. And it's so miraculous to him that he thinks it's a dream. He doesn't actually think that it's happening to him while it's happening. That's where our text picks up this morning. As soon as he realized this, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose other name was Mark, where many had gathered and were praying. The text begins to let you know that there are people praying for liberation. People praying for literally Peter to be let loose from chains, from bondage, from being kept down. And he goes to a house right when he gets liberated. And when he shows up, the people are praying. You see, church, I cannot express enough that sometimes when we pray, we don't always get the outcome that we're actually looking for. We may not always get the exact outcome we're looking for from prayer, but we are getting movement and intervention from God. I love that when Peter is liberated, he shows up to a people who are praying, a praying people. I also love that those praying people respond this way. Verse 13, when he knocked at the outer gate, a maid named Rhoda came to answer. On recognizing Peter's voice, she was so overjoyed that instead of opening the gate, she ran in and announced that Peter was standing at the gate. They said to her, "You are out of your mind." But she insisted that it was so. They said, "It is his angel." Meanwhile, Peter continued knocking, and when they opened the gate, they saw him and were amazed. I often wonder why Luke would include that part of this story in the book of Acts. Why would he spend so many verses? He spent an equal number of verses talking about the interaction between Rhoda and the way in which she was speaking to the owners of the house about Peter standing at the gate, as he did explaining the miracle. And I think it's because a praying people, a people who are praying and seeking the voice of God, will quickly figure out that there's no hierarchy in this thing. We're all just people trying to make it together in a Christian way. We're trying to bring about experiences of life and goodness as a revelation of God together. And so it doesn't matter that she's a maid or a slave. She can backtalk. She has a voice. She has an opinion available, the same as owners, the same as the people of power. I love that a praying people are an equitable people. And lastly, I love Peter's understanding of all of it. Peter's not upset that he gets left outside at the gate for some amount of time while he's just been illegally sprung from jail miraculously. This is what he says. He motioned to them with his hand to be silent and described for them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he added, "Tell this to James and to the believers." Then he left and went to another place. So Peter just shows up, very understanding of what's happening, tells them this story, tells them to be quiet in the moment, tells them this story, and then tells them to go tell everybody else about this miracle. Yeah, church. I love that Peter wants them to talk about this miracle, because I'm tired of the church being known for what we're against. I want the church to be known for what we're for. I'm for single moms getting jobs. I'm for homelessness, homeless people moving into permanent residences. I'm for life and liberation. Yeah, all of those miracles. Miracles may not look like us getting miraculously sprung from jail. That's for a lot of reasons. But we absolutely see miracles every day. A single mom getting a job, it's a miracle in this world. A homeless person moving into a residence, that's a miracle. Someone being healed from cancer, that's a miracle. Science helps, all of those things, absolutely. But those are miracles. And I'm for the church being known what we're for. I'm tired of us being known for what we're against. So church, here's my question to you today. How can we be a praying people of liberation better?